Brady, thank you for doing this. I know you and Matt are tight. It's rivalry week in college football. I just got to go back. Can we go back for a minute? You guys have met on the field quite often, and now you're boys. But take me back in time for a second. You got Leinart coming in, or you're going there. What's the feelings like?
So my true freshman year, because I started playing right away, I really didn't fully understand the magnitude of the Notre Dame, Southern Cal rivalry. And there's a ton of history behind it. You'll probably hear about it all this week. But I grew up in the Midwest. The schools I was looking at were Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. And when it came down time to make my decision, it was kind of tight between Notre Dame and Michigan. So when I picked Notre Dame, I don't know, something about the matchup versus Michigan, who we played every year at that time, that stood out to me, like something to prove. And a lot of the guys that were looking at either one of those two schools, you were very familiar with them from your recruiting visits and kind of keeping in touch, playing against each other if they're from the state of Ohio, et cetera. So I was really like that was the matchup that I would always kind of looked at, was like, man, this is like everything. Although after my freshman year, I started to understand, I should really say not even after, before the game, I'll never forget, man, Joe Montana, who was like an idol, right? I grew up, I loved the Cleveland Browns, but I had family in Northern California. And so they would send me some 49ers gear. And I loved Jerry Rice. My first year I played football, played receiver, so I loved Jerry. And obviously I grew to love Joe Montana as his quarterback. So, I grew up watching Joe have success, and that translated kind of to Tom Brady, that next GOAT. And I remember being down on the field on our walkthrough before the game, and I see Joe's kids, I think it might've been Nate, they were throwing the football around. And so I was like, hey, here, he throws it to me. I go to throw, and Joe almost slaps my arm down as I'm going to go back. I'm like, what the heck? He's like, do you want to throw this, before the game tomorrow? And he was like, oh, mess up your mechanics in your arm. I was like, oh, okay. So I tossed the ball to him. And Joe was always so cool, so laid back. And then talking with him a little bit, I started to get a better understanding of what this meant to so many people out in Cali, which again, I was ignorant to at that point. But also, ignorant to the fact that USC that year before I got there was rolling, obviously with Carson. And then Matt, I think that was your first year starting,
Yep.
and you guys, obviously one of the greatest teams in college football history. So that was the most unfortunate part, is I couldn't play a Southern Cal team now. I had to play that era. Matt and Richie and everyone else doing the first round picks. I'm like, why couldn't I have been born at a time where I get to play this version of Southern Cal?
I was telling Jerry earlier, it's and you had Notre Dame, Michigan, obviously, and we had USC, UCLA, and a little bit similar. When I was there, it really wasn't a rivalry because UCLA wasn't good, but you go back to crosstown rivalries in the city of LA. It is important, right? The Battle of the Bell, you can go back to some of the great years in the 90s and all that. But I remember my freshman year, we went to Notre Dame, and it was our first time going, Pete's first time. So we get there and we go early because we go see the grotto, and we're it was almost became a tourist thing. We were Pete wanted to do that. We got our ass kicked, dude. It was Carlisle Holiday. Carlisle Holiday was a quarterback. And we lost it. And who's your running back? You weren't there yet, but you had a good running back. And
what year was this? 01?
I think it was 01. Yeah.
So it would have been,
anyway,
I can't remember. Julius Jones, maybe Ryan Grant, something like that.
Oh no, I think it was both. It was Julius Jones.
Julius Jones
for sure. And we got our ass kicked, and never again. And Pete was like, next time we go back to that place, we're going, it's a business trip. So it was just and that's when I got a taste of damn, this is a pretty cool, the history. Notre Dame is Rudy was my favorite movie. Brady makes fun, Rudy's still my favorite sports movie. No, I'm serious. It's just it was so cool to be a part of that. And then to have those 3 years. We played 3 years against each other, twice in South Bend, which was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the last time.
Well, for me, yeah.
Did you guys during that have any contact with each other? You're college kids, so it's different than when you're in the pros and you have an off season, you work out with different guys. Did you guys have any contact over those 3 years, or are you just seeing each other's sort of highlights? How do you, I'm curious about that. Any contact or no?
I think, what was the year Because, like, I think we probably hated each other. I think we developed a hatred for each other. I mean, hate's a strong word, but
Sports hate, though, not like personal hate. Right?
No.
when I look back, I'd be like, people ask, I'm like, Brady's my boy. It's like my brother. I love Brady, but like, we did not like each other back then. And do you remember? I think we've told this story. But
I love
remember
this.
at the I didn't tell Jarius. Remember the coin flip senior year?
Yes.
And I think I said, or my senior year, we're at Notre Dame. This is the Bush push game. You know, this is all of that. And like, we're walking out to the coin flip, the captains, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I didn't talk a lot of shit playing, like, but it was just one of those things. And and Brady's just like, look at him, dude. He's a great guy. The guy was like 250, just chiseled, just looked the part.
Jacked up.
Still jacked up. And I think, what did I say? I was like, I said something about, you've been on steroids, bro. You lay off the steroids at the coin flip. Yes, at the coin flip.
It's like,
and I don't know what he said.
Bro. That's like,
yeah. Well, Brady still calls me bro. He calls me South Bay bro. But it was like one of the funny. And when I look back, I'm like, it was one of the dumber exchanges. But it was just like, I fucking hate Notre Dame. I hate this guy. I want to win. It was obviously a big game. Like, that was just everything. But that was the moment. That was the coin flip. That was the captains go out there, and it's just like, dude, are you still on roids?
What stunk about playing them was obviously they were unbelievable at that time. Like, you guys didn't lose for 2 years in like that junior year until you lost against Texas.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Sophomore, my sophomore year, and then the last game.
Okay. So I just remember being like, it's not bad enough when you have to play a team that has like a lot of first round picks on their defensive front or a linebacker or wherever else. But then you're like trying to play a game where you've got to like keep it away from their offense, which stunk. And everyone will tell you, Jerry, like, you know what a 4-minute offense is, right?
Yes.
I was already, when you play sneaky, like paying attention to the play clock. You're like, all right, we're going to snap this thing about 2 seconds left. Trying to make it look like we're like, this is like by design, just milking the clock to limit however many touches and possessions they got. So it was a challenge. There's no doubt about it. Like I said before, unfortunately, we played USC during arguably the greatest era I think they probably ever had. I don't think that's like hyperbole. It's probably the case. But look, I mean, USC was ahead of its time. You know, they had NIL before NIL was legalized, and that was it was beneficial, I think, to Southern California.
You're so full of shit, dude. Hey, listen.
Prior to his career.
Oh, shut up. All right, before we get into this week's game, and I don't know, dude, we're gonna bet on this. You're gonna give me points. I'm already saying it right now. I'm not
points.
I'm not.
Let me bring in Jerry. Okay.
Well, hold on. I want to ask you something before we get to this game.
Okay.
I want to ask. I know we talk about Bush push ad nauseum. I get it, and I'm not even going to bring it up this week. Charlie Weis. Charlie was your coach. He coached Brady. Charlie's great. Charlie was a great, fantastic coach. All levels. And you and I have told like there's got to be a Charlie Weis story. It could be that game. I mean, it could be. He came in our locker room after the game. I remember. Like, I had a lot of respect for him. But
oh, really?
Yeah, he did. He came in after the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But I know you got some great Charlie Weis stuff.
I mean, I actually just
did he just MF you? Like, he had to MF you
me pretty much from the day he walked onto our campus when I left to go to the NFL. But probably one of the times I was most caught off guard. And so, Jerry, just so you know, like, game day, we'll be at the hotel, and meetings and whatnot in the morning. Then we go to the Basilica, and we have a mass. It's like an abbreviated mass. And so we head out from the church. We do this walk all the way to the stadium. And I want to say it was, I think it was my senior year versus North Carolina. And the weather had kind of turned. And at one point, I think Henry Scroop, who was our equipment manager, like, had asked me, like, hey, what socks do you want to wear? Like, do you want to wear the normal ones or shorter, like longer ones? I'm like, I don't know. It looks like it's going to be cool. I'm like, maybe wear the longer ones or whatever. And I always thought like it was cooler anyway. And so it was like a passing comment I think I made on like a Friday or something, like day before the game. And so we go through the walk, we get to the stadium. And before I even get to my locker, I'm hearing someone like run to come get me. And so I'm like, all right, what could this be about? And so I go to Coach's locker. Like, he had his own separate little office locker room there. And he's only wearing his underwear. And I'm like, at no point had I seen Coach in this capacity at any point in those 2 years. And so I was like taken back by the whole situation. And meanwhile, other effing me about who do I think I am? I get to make these decisions on the uniform, everything else. I'm like completely blown away, trying to be like, what did I do? Like, what make this?
It's socks.
It's the socks. But
he thought you were probably soft, right? He's like, you're gonna wear high.
I have no idea. I just know that was one of the times I got mothered after more than anything else. And he was just in his skivvies chewing me out.
I'm getting a visual right now. That is not a good visual.
That one sticks out. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, but I will say my junior year, our second game, we went to Ann Arbor, and I think game day was there. It was a big matchup. It was like a top 5, whatever matchup, or they were top 5. And I just remember trying to go back up to the locker room. They have awful away locker rooms, by the way. It's like the smallest, crappiest. You don't even have a locker. You just have like a hook, and they put the crap on the wall on a hook, and like that's it. And I remember being like, "You can't go in the locker room." I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, someone overflowed one of the toilets.
Oh,
I was like, we were out like on the field almost the entire time, and I don't know who did it or what happened. A lot of people threw in different names, different blame, but I remember like we had to take turns shuffling into like one area of the locker room because one of the toilets overflowed, and there was like sewage like flooding into the locker room. But that was we ended up winning, but that was another fond memory of Manny. I just there's so many ass jokes, dude.
Oh, so real quick, that just spawned a memory, and we talked about this on the pod a couple weeks ago. Before we dive into this week's game, peeing on the sideline. Okay,
I never knew this.
So Jerry asked me this, and now they have the blue tent, right, and all this stuff. So like, I basically said because it's a common question. Like people are always like, "How do you go to the bathroom on the sideline?" Typically, you don't, right? But if you have to pee, I always said, yeah, like you literally get on your knee, you have your trainers or whoever put the towels, and you just take a piss, like usually behind like the Gatorade stand or something like that. And I always thought it was funny because I would do it, and Brady knows me now. I'm kind of like a weird, like I just got weird like shit. I would be like doing it, and your head like peeks over the table, and then you're just looking at like 80,000 people. Like I can literally remember doing it in Houston. I do it all the time, right? So like, Can you co-sign with me? Did you ever have that? Like it happens. Now it's a little different. I think you can go in the blue tent, like you're covered.
I don't know. I went to Giant Steelers and I saw, now that I was aware of it, I saw it all. I never noticed in every game I ever went to, I never just noticed players pissing. You think they're getting medical attention or something.
Straight Peter
I saw like
gazing, dude.
I saw one player walk out with like a bag of piss and he jokingly pretended to throw it at the Steeler fans. I never 40 years of watching football, I never noticed any of that.
So Notre Dame has gold pants. And so
yes, they do.
Tell me you pissed your pants.
I didn't. I never honestly I never had to do that. Like I never had to go to the bathroom. It was never an issue for me. I don't know why. But we definitely had guys who did just pee their pants because you really couldn't tell whether it was sweat or whether it was pee at that point. And so my only request to the O-line was like, if it was our
not the center, dude, you can't.
Yeah.
I was like, if you piss your pants, I'm gonna go right to the coach, and be like, we're in shotgun the rest of the game. I want no part of this. No part of this.
Dude, there's nothing worse than sweaty ass center pants. Oh, dude, it's the worst. All right, dude. Let's I don't know. Jerry had some. Like, let's dive into the game, dude.
Listen,
get my offer. Can I throw this out?
Yes,
you can throw it out, but I'm not doing it.
Well, let's hear it first, man. I haven't heard it yet.
Thank you. I mean, it's just Matt doesn't live in the Midwest. He doesn't have these manners. But here's the deal. This is what I've offered. Okay, I'm offering Matthew Leinart the third. I'm offering him 7 points, which is I believe is the spread or whatever the number goes to before kick. If it goes up, I'm still giving them to you. Still give them.
Okay.
If it goes down, I'm still giving you 7. All right. Now, if you win, all right, I have to travel to USC's bowl game and I have to wear USC gear. You don't even have to attend. I will go by myself to their bowl game. Okay.
Whoa.
This is why
By the way,
my wife is going to be giving birth potentially like the 3rd week of January. She is going to be so ticked off that I'm going to have this like trip that pops up out of nowhere to probably the West Coast to have to go sit by myself and watch a USC bowl game. Okay.
But Okay.
Okay.
Let me intervene real quick. Let me intervene just really quick. This is the same stupid that you.
The other side of it is, if I win, I'm going to have Matt fly out private from Southern California.
PJ. Okay.
To South
Did you
for their
did you
playoff.
confirm that, by the way? Did you
did.
confirm that?
Yes, I did. to Notre Dame for their playoff game. Let's say December 20th, 8 p.m.
4 days before Christmas.
But you'll be out in and out.
That's a PJ. You're in and out, buddy.
Listen, dude. This is typical Brady. Okay, Brady also made. No, I'm going to get there. You also made a deal or a bet with Dan, with DP, our friend, all of our friends,
Dan Patrick,
about you would shave your head if Notre Dame lost to Army, knowing the fact that good God, the Army was never going to beat Notre Dame, and you know damn well that USC is not going to even cover the points of Notre Dame. Yes, you do.
You
do.
Open up our Google Notes for our show right now. Did you see my score prediction?
34-27.
No.
Was that it?
No.
But I don't care about your score prediction.
Why not? Wait, I care. We have Brady Quinn on the show.
This is typical Brady, dude. Brady knows. Listen, any other year, I took the bet last year. It was awful. We got our ass kicked by 30 points.
Well,
and I think it might have even been straight up. Like even if you give me 7, I'm like,
I kind of forget.
Dude, I dressed up as a leprechaun on the show. Gladly. By the way, I leaned into it. Okay, this is a little different
in the history of leprechauns
because there's a lot of travel involved. Would you be willing to go a little higher on the points? And I do think it's 7.5 as we speak.
I mean,
today.
if he gave me 14 points, I'll take it.
14?
I was gonna maybe say 10.5.
Dude, you're literally top 5 in the country. By the way, we have one of the worst defenses in college. You're gonna run for 900 yards, dude.
Okay. Let me get to
this.
You're going to play out. Okay.
Okay. This is what we're here for.
I think this game's going to be a lot tighter than Matt realizes. All right. And mind you, he mentioned the DP prediction because I told DP, I said Notre Dame's going to blow out Army. Okay. Said that. And that's why he pressed back and said, if Army wins, you've got to shave your head. And I said, gladly, because I know it's not going to happen. Ohio State versus Indiana. What did I say on our show? I said blowout. And we're not even supposed to be doing that because we're supposed to entice viewers.
Right.
I didn't see the matchup working out well. I think this is going to be quite possibly the closest game. Actually, I'll put it this way. It'll be the closest game Notre Dame's played as far as being on the winning side of it. I do think Notre Dame wins, but I think it'll be really tight.
That's because they haven't played anybody, dude, but it doesn't matter.
That's part of it. And USC can match up really well with Notre Dame at the skill position players. Woody Barks is a tremendous running back. You know this. Your skill player is a wide receiver, and you've got a running quarterback like Notre Dame does. And so there's elements of if USC can stop the run, and mind you, USC's defensive front is improved, and it's better than Matt's giving him credit.
Brady, just stop talking,
Offensive
please.
line from Notre Dame has been banged up. It's not like they have been playing against a god team. So I think it's going to be a 3-point game. I think it's going to be
whoa.
I do.
Matt.
Listen. As much as he's trying to sell this because he's a professional politician, we tell him this all the time. This guy, I can't. I think my wife would leave me, dude, if I leave to Indianapolis, bro. This isn't even. By the way, I would love to go. I would love to go PJ, Notre Dame, get booze with my boy, watch Notre Dame play in a college football playoff game. I would love to do that. I would. 4 days before Christmas. Telling my wife that after we travel all year. And by the way, the fact that I don't even know what bowl game USC would go to. Are we even eligible for a bowl game?
Are they even? Is that even getting into a bowl?
We have 6. I don't even know where I'm going.
What's the worst place you could be going? What would be your biggest fear?
I looked it up. There's a good chance it could be the Vegas Bowl. Could be worse.
That would be fine. That'd be perfectly fine. Although, again, he's going to get photos of me wearing USC stuff, sitting all by myself up in the nosebleeds watching this game. That's going to be miserable. By the way, to answer your question, I think the most miserable bowl game is probably the Sun Bowl. And
I was going to say El Paso.
El Paso can be really cold at that time. It's an outdoor venue, and it's not easy to get out of. So
I was looking. There is actually a small chance SC could play Oklahoma in a bowl game, which would be actually pretty fire.
That would be a fun one
because they hate Lincoln.
I think you guys should
I don't
do
know,
this.
dude. I can't-
Listen,
this is-
I think
this
get
is
it up
the
to
shit-
maybe 10.5, Matt. I think negotiate for 10.5.
This is the shitty part about this. This is what I'm gonna do because I can't. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm a big bet guy. I've always made good to my bets. I've actually lost.
You're gonna do
No. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it on.
He's
I'm
out.
not doing it on the pod right now. We still have a couple days. All
We'll
right?
work something out.
It's a couple days. Let me think about this, B. Let me think. I'm not backing out of a bet. I will. I'd rather bet you. I'll bet you $1,000. I'll bet you cash, whatever. But the trip is gonna be. I know the trip is gonna be tough. This isn't the trip is gonna be tough, dude. I'm just being honest with you. BQ, let me tell you something. So Jerry got to experience being at USC with me last week. We did a lot of it was fun, and he was like, we're walking around, and he got to experience a little bit of what college life was like. Jerry, I'm telling you.
I didn't go to college.
Just like as far as like.
No, that I mean, I know
Well,
that's short.
I mean, not that type of college life. Being on campus, like experiencing like,
is that what happened here?
Man.
Like, what was going on there?
Jesus.
I'm signing with USC.
I went. By the way, I mean Notre Dame's a beautiful school. I mean it's not USC and some other elements, but being on campus with Brady is the fucking mayor of
Legend.
South Bend, Indiana, dude. You are the mayor. We even broke into his football locker room. That was.
Can
great,
I get
by
a
the way.
tour from? Can I get? I mean, I did USC.
It
with
was
Leinart.
really, honestly, it was really cool. It was
That's
cool.
a show.
'Cause
I just go
yeah.
to college campuses and get tours from like their legendary quarterbacks.
Speaking that, what'd you say?
We did it for your social media. We literally broke in,
Dude.
Jerry, to the locker room. Like
Cru-
I thought,
Dude, that the
Dude,
poor girl, man. You were about to get her fired,
this
dude.
girl was hosting us. And you have to understand, when I first got there, the locker room in our stadium was our only locker room. We had to walk all the way across campus to go to the practice fields. Then by my junior year, they built this separate locker room, practice facility, all this stuff, right? So they'd always said hey, the alarm goes on at a certain time at night. I'm like, no, it doesn't, because I've had to get into the stadium before
Right.
to go to my locker, back in the day when I was a freshman, sophomore. So this girl's like, no, there's an alarm. I'm like, they just say that. I was like, no way, that's true. So
Oh no.
we go in, the
Dude.
alarm goes off. I'm like, oh God, cops show up, everything.
Brady was like, no, trust me, we're good. It was one of those, we're good. And obviously being with him, but then, the cops came. The poor girl, I was like, dude, you're going to get this girl fired, dude. And Brady was like, I promise if anything happens, it's on me. But it was fantastic. Hey, real quick, I was telling Jerry, and you mentioned your kids, and you got a whole starting lineup, and Alish going to have another one here pretty soon, in a couple months. Thanksgiving, what is Thanksgiving like at the Quinn household? And then also, I don't think a lot of people know this about you and the family, and the incredible athletic in-laws and the genes that your family. I was telling Jerry a little bit. Explain the brother-in-laws and what it's like at the Quinn household.
Yeah, so it's funny, everything kind of worked out the way it did, but my older sister, Laura, is married to AJ Hawk. So, by the way, I've got to talk to Leinart. I didn't get the best of AJ. We played back when I was in youth league. He beat us in the championship at Centerville, and then we go to Ohio State. He beats us in the Fiesta Bowl. So I have to deal with that crap constantly.
Bunch of bullshit, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? I don't even know if can I cuss on this? I don't know if I
Yes, you're
dude,
fine.
We drop
Totally
F-bombs all
fine.
day.
So that's my older brother-in-law. My younger brother-in-law is Jack Johnson. He was a defenseman for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So he played.
Yeah.
Obviously, my wife was in the 2008 Olympics. She was a very decorated Olympic gymnast, won a bunch of medals and world championships too. So they're extremely athletic. And honestly, quite possibly the most athletic of the bunch is my little sister. So my little sister in women's soccer was the 3-time Gatorade State Player of the Year in Ohio.
I didn't know that.
They'd won 2 state championships, went on a full ride to UVA. She was on the Olympic development team. She ended up tearing up her knee twice, I believe, sophomore and senior year. And so that kind of ended things for her with how bad her knee was. But incredible athlete. Everything LeBron won coming out of high school was what she won. Where it was this like a 2 or 3 time.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. So she's always the one that I try to give love to because no one really hears her story, and she was a ridiculous athlete. Like if you go in our high school, like we're both in the Hall of Fame, she's the one that has like all these banners, right? Like we made it to the state semis with Forest High School, been in football. We won a state championship in baseball. But like,
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, like they won 2. There's like always Gatorade State Player of the Year banners up. Like, damn. But that's our family. Like we're an incredibly athletic, competitive family. So there's essentially a fist fight over the turkey and the sides every Thanksgiving.
You know what I wanted to ask you, Brady? Because look, obviously you cover the game, but it's no secret too that you love the game. Because I got excited just listening to maybe thinking about going to a Notre Dame playoff game. That just sounds awesome. What coming into this season and what now excites you about just the playoff system? Because I'm hyped for it. I really am. I think this changes everything.
I think like the fact that you've got the Big 12 and like no one controls their own destiny. Like think about that.
Right.
You have the last game of the regular season and you can't say that if any team wins that they're definitively in the championship game. Like there's all these tie-breaking scenarios, which it speaks to a little bit of the realignment, but also just the fact of, the anticipation for like what has made the regular season better. I think some people were concerned that if you expanded the playoff, it would allow teams to lose more games. And so it wouldn't be as intriguing, but it's had the exact opposite effect now.
Yeah.
Like, can you make a case for a 3-loss SEC team that loses in the conference championship? Like, let's say Georgia goes to the SEC championship and loses with 3 losses. Like, you look at the resume and like, well, they beat a lot of good teams, but they also lost 3 times. And you kind of measure who they lost against versus like an Indiana team that doesn't go to the championship or potentially couldn't, right? Still got some time left. And then how that would factor out. So there's all those debates and conversations, which I think has actually been like healthy and good for college football.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also opens up the potential, even if we don't get it this year, for a Cinderella story, which is what makes college basketball so great. And what we see in the NFL, where it's like, yeah, you got, the Juggernaut team.
Are you like a Giants fan, being from Brooklyn? We're from Brooklyn.
I grew up a Giants fan. We were talking about this earlier on the show, but now I'm a Red Zone fan because I just watched
Tommy Cutlets.
I can't.
So
even
we talk about
I'm the Giants fan, babe. How we doing?
I talk more Giants than I've ever talked in my life on this pod, dude.
It's rough. I was even thinking about this and almost wanted to ask both of you this, and it's unfair to ask now because there's going to be coaching changes. But if you look at the teams that need quarterbacks, there's quite a few of them. If you just look from afar, even though there will be coaching changes, if you're a quarterback coming in this year's draft, what organization are you looking at saying, well, I think because Matt talks a lot about it's so important for a young quarterback, the fit and where they go and and the infrastructure around them. And that's why I'm happy Bryce is starting to play well. And like, even though they lost to the Chiefs, but so if you're looking, obviously the Giants, maybe the Jets, the Raiders for sure. There's a solid 4 or 5 teams that need a quarterback.
He just wants to know who's coming to the Giants. Is it Shador or who is it? Cam Ward?
So here's the problem with that is I think everyone would definitively view Shador as the number 1 quarterback, and then maybe it's Cam Ward or Carson Beck, depending on who you talk to and how you evaluate their tape. But that's the hard part is there's only going to be one team that puts themselves in position, and there's some leverage there. Then if like Shador and Dion know, and they have a destination that they have in mind, I mean, he's really good at finding his way to make things work out.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
That's going to happen. It's going to happen this year.
It's going to be really interesting. By the way, I'm not so sure the Giants move on from Brian Daboll. I think there's a chance they could stay with him. The off-season Hard Knocks couldn't have gone any worse. It couldn't have gone any worse. Where the kid actually looks like he, could be general manager as just as good at that point. But he's the one that makes
I know it was such a bad. That was such a bad look.
You were overthinking this a little bit, but I think the Giants would be a great spot for any quarterback. In part because they tended to be pretty patient. They've tended to try to build around that position. And I think from the quarterback who goes their standpoint, you don't have to do much in order to get a second contract. So there's that.
You just got to be average.
Or, whatever. But I'm just saying, that's attractive, right?
Listen, I have the talk all the time with my buddy who's just like, it's great that Daniel Jones got the contract, but he shouldn't have. That's what you get. You took all the money. and that's what you got.
You should have franchise tagged him, agreed to the extension with Saquon. You could have let it play out another year with Daniel Jones. That would have been ideally how it went. In all honesty, like, because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, which was part of that. But here's the thing, as I'll say, is Matt, you're lucky because when I moved up from Ohio, from South Florida, I had a bunch of buddies and guys who are East Coast. They're from New York, Jersey, Philly, Boston, all these different accents.
Boston.
There's nothing like talking to like that East Coast sports fan.
I know.
A guy like Jerry. Like, it makes me miss my boys. Makes me miss Fasano. All my boys.
Yeah.
Because they're just.
Oh, we love Fasano. We love Fasano.
Dude, what?
Fasano,
It's the first time Jerry and I hung out. One of the first times we were in New York doing a lot of stuff for this, and we were watching a Knicks game, and it was my first real interaction to like. He's a diehard Knicks. He's a diehard New York fan, right? So I was like, and as a West Coast, I'm like,
the Knicks are my Browns.
It was just like watching a Knicks game and him and all like you're talking about. It just was like, oh, this shit's great, dude. Like this is like a true New Yorker who loves his sports. We talk so much in Giants, dude. I'm like, at this point, it's like Danny Jones is gone, dude. He's gone.
It's painful though to not have a meaningful game now in over 2 years, and even before that, years before that. That's why fantasy and betting is what I have, because it's been so bad for both New York teams. But you know, I was trying to sneak in you just saying the Giants would be a good place for a young quarterback, and you kind of did. So I feel like it's a big victory for me.
It'd be great.
Listen. Hey, we're gonna figure out this bet before the game.
Yes,
okay?
for sure.
We appreciate you coming on, man.
Yes, thank you, and we'll get the bet. I'll get him to do something for you.
Thank you.